So there was some questions to go over a few of these. So let's take a look on the review. First question is number 2. Number 2. Let's take a look at it. Number 2 from the review is 4x minus 7 quantity squared minus 3 is equal to 61. Okay, what sticks out right away to tell you there's going to be 2 answers to this problem? The square. And the equals means we're trying to solve it. So I need to go through and solve this. There's a number of ways I could do this. You can do it the way that I'm going to show you, or if you needed to, and I'm not going to work it out entirely, but you could do this. You could go through this way and go, all right, that's you can go through this whole ordeal this way and get the answer. Let's see, 2856. 6 minus 3 equals 61, and start solving that. Okay, and what I did is I multiplied the whole thing out. Or you could go through, so this is not done, but from this point on you could continue to work through it. Or you could realize this. I'm going to add 3. So I get 4, parentheses, x minus 7 quantity squared equals 64. Still with me on this adventure? From there, 4 times this quantity. So to undo that 4, I need to divide each side by 4. That cancels this. That leaves me x minus 7 still in parentheses is equal to 64 over 4. Casey, you missed the first 10 minutes of class. You don't need to be walking in now. What does it come out to? 16? And then I have the square root. That's what's going to give me the 2 answers. Okay, if I took the square root of both sides, what's this answer? Close. Close as well. Plus or minus 4. Okay, if you take the square root of both sides, you have to give both answers. Okay, I'm going to add 7 to both sides. So 7 plus 4 is 11. That's one answer. 7 minus 4 is 3. There's my other answer. Done. So if I had done this whole problem where it might have been, you might have realized it could factor out, or you might have had to run through the quadratic formula with it, you've gotten the same answer. So it's your choice which way you want to do it. Okay? So problem number 6 was the next problem. These are cool. All of the review completely worked out. Number 6 will tell us to use the quadratic equation, use the zero property to solve. Okay, so number 6 looks like this. If I'm going to solve it, what do I have to make sure it's equal to? 0. Is it equal to 0? No. What do I do to make it equal 0? Subtract 2x. Reese, you had a question? Okay, so that's going to cancel. That gives me 0 over here. That's going to be x squared minus 8x. Okay, do I have to use the quadratic formula on this? No. What's the way I can solve it? What sticks out? X squared minus 8x. I'm missing my c value. So what do I have in common between those 2 terms that I can factor out? An x. Good. Okay, so I have x and then x minus 8. And it's equal to 0. Now, I could use the quadratic formula where a is 1, b is negative 8, c is 0, and it's going to give me the same answer. Or I can say, oh, okay, well, x is equal to 0. There's one answer. And x minus 8 equals 0. So what's my other answer? 8. Those are my 2 answers to this problem. Is that all right? Yes. Number 16. And the whole test you can use the calculator on, so it's not, I'm not going to have 2 different portions. X minus 8 quantity squared is equal to 8. Okay, if you get stuck on this and you don't realize how this problem needs to work, you could try to do it this way. bring the 8 over, solve for it, see if you can factor it, use the quadratic formula. Or you could do it this way. I can take the square root of each side. Still with me? X minus 8 is equal to plus or minus the square root of 8. Where did that plus or minus come from? Why does it exist? Square root. If you take the square root of both sides, one of the sides has to have a positive or negative. Okay? Add 8 to both sides. If you get to this point, you've gotten 3 of the 4 points. Why do I say that? Because the 8 will what? Yeah, I could break this 8 down underneath. Square root of this? 2. Can I cancel anything out? No, there's not a fraction. It doesn't cancel. So here's my answer. Okay? So if you had done this on using the quadratic formula, your answer is still going to be the same. Cool? So that's 16. Number 18. Number 18, I have x squared minus x is equal to 1. Am I ready to use the quadratic formula on this one? No, why not? It's equal to 1, so let's make it equal to 0. So I'm going to subtract 1. Okay, this is not going to factor as is. I need to use quadratic, so a equals 1, b equals negative 1, c equals negative 1. I got a whole bunch of 1s, whether they're positive or negative. Quadratic formula, x is equal to negative b. Why is it negative negative? B is negative 1. Cool. Plus or minus b squared. Negative 1 squared minus 4 times a times c all over 2a. Do you agree with that? Negative 1 squared is what? 1. Okay? If you plug negative 1 on your calculator and square it, it's going to give you an answer of negative 1. Because the calculator doesn't read it that way. If you're going to square something on a calculator it's negative, put it in parentheses. That gives me 1 plus or minus. Negative 1 squared is 1 minus. Oh wait, what's my sign going to be here? Positive. I have this and this, so it's going to be positive 4. So this answer looks like it'll be 1 plus or minus root 5 all over 2. How many answers is that? 2. So that's my answer. Oops. 21. Can I clear that? It's gone. 21. 21. Let's see. 3x squared minus 5x equals negative 3x squared plus 6. That's a whole lot of stuff. I need to start getting it equal to 0. It's not equal to 0. And you got to pick one side or the other to get it equal to 0. So I'm going to move everything on this side over. That cancels that. Minus 6, minus 6. That cancels. So it's equal to 0. So I get 6x squared minus 5x minus 6. What's my go-to? Quadratic. So a equals 6, b equals negative 5, c equals negative 6. Notice I've kept those signs. X equals negative b. Why is it negative negative? Negative. What's negative 5 squared? Do I believe that? What? 25. Good. All right, so finishing this up, I got 5 plus or minus. Negative 5 squared is positive 25. Negative 4 times 6 times negative, so it's going to be negative negative is positive. 4 times 6 is what? 24. 24 times 6 is? Gage, if you're going to sleep, you can go to nurse. You're welcome to go. 144? Thank you. So I get 5 plus or minus the square root of 169 over 12. What do we know about 169 and the square root of it? It's 13. Good. So I get 5 plus or minus 13 over 12. Let's do the arithmetic. 5 plus 13 is 18. So I get 18 over 12. And I'll reduce that in a moment. And then 5 minus 13 is how much? Negative 8 over 12. Reduce this one. That gives me 3 over 2. Reduce this one. It's negative 2/3. Good. There's my answers. What problem was that one? 21. Cool. Feeling okay about these? All right, problem number 22 says the length of a rectangle. Okay, so I'm going to draw myself a rectangle. I know I have length and width. My elementary school teacher told me length is always longer than width. Great. So we label it like that. The length of a rectangle exceeds its width by 4 inches. So the length is equal to the width plus 4. Good so far? Find the dimensions if its area is 96. So we know the area is 96 square inches. So I know the area of a rectangle is length times width. So let's plug in some things that we might know from the problem. So they told me this. Okay, so I get 96 is equal to. I have a length and a width, but I also know that the length is equal to this relationship. Why do I need to plug W plus 4 in here? How many letters does it go to if I have W and W plus 4 as my dimensions? 2 letters, kind of. Sometimes W is not 2 U's. I have a length, which is, what's my length equal to? Width plus 4. I have a width. Our width is equal to? W. How many letters are left to solve? Is W the same thing as W? Yes. How many letters are left to solve? Good. Sorry, we use W because W sounds like you're saying double and U. Okay, I can indeed distribute over. I get 96 is equal to W squared plus 4W. How do I make this work? Thank you. So make it equal to 0. Good job. I think it's going to factor. Usually on lengths, so we're going to make it work for you. So the factors of 96, one being positive, one being negative. I have 1 and 96. Help me out. 2 and 48. I want them to add up to 4. 3 and 32. 4 and 2, 24. Any of those work to add up to 24? One being positive, one being negative? No? Let's keep going. What else? Help me. Ooh. 6. Okay, 6. 6 times, let's see, 1. 6 times 16. Is that 1 positive, 1 negative? Give me 4? No, let's keep going. 7 doesn't look like it's going to work. 8? Ooh. Oh, 8 and 12. If 8 and 12, one was positive, one was negative, would it add up to be 4W? Heck yeah, let's do it. All right. So I get W squared plus 8W. Is it 8W?
Minus 8W.
Minus 8W. Minus 8W plus 12W. Minus 96. What do I have common there? W, so that's W minus 8. What do I have common here? 12, so it's positive. I factor 12 out. Okay. Let's keep going. That gives me W minus 8 and W plus. Hey, how can I get 2 answers here? Yeah, it's squared, so there should be 2 answers. So let's set each of these equal to 0. So W minus 8 equals 0, and W plus 12 equals 0. W is equal to 8. Okay. And W is equal to what? Negative 12. Folks, would it make sense to have a width that's negative? No. So one of the answers is ridiculous, right? This answer is not going to work. So if my width is 8, let's go back up top here. If my width is equal to 8, and I knew my length was W plus 4, so 8 plus 4, so what's my length? 12. 12 inches by 8 inches is this rectangle. We good so far? All right. 23 and 24. Oh, the word problem still. All right. Joe, uh-oh.
What would you say that you think more on the test, like word problems or like?
There's like very few. Yeah, like the last page might be 2 problems, I think. And I'll weight them like 150 points each. Just kidding. All right, 23. Let's take a look at that. 23. It says Joe's rectangular garden is 6 meters long and 4 meters wide. Oh, sweet. We know everything about this. He wishes to double the area of his garden by increasing its length and width by the same amount. Meaning we're going to add a certain number to the length and the same number to the width. Find the number of meters by which the dimensions increase. Okay, so we have our rectangular garden. We have a length, we have a width. Still with me? What do we know the length be? 6 meters. What do we know the width be?
4.
Cool. And so the area of this garden is 4 times 6, so the area is equal to 24 square meters. Yay? Okay. But that's not the answer. What do they want us to do? They want us to double the area. They said, hey, double the area. Let's double it. So I want to know what the dimensions will be to get a 48 square meter garden. Am I going to add the same amount to the length and to the width, or am I going to just make the width different? Same amount. So I'm going to take this dimension and add x to it, and I'm going to take this dimension and do what? Add x to it. So a 6 plus x and a 4 plus x dimension equals our new 48. Okay, let's multiply it out. That's 24 plus 4x plus 6x plus x squared. Okay, it's got it backwards, but it works. Still with me? Okay, so let's bring everything. I'm going to do x squared plus 10x plus 24 equals 48. What did I just do? I rearranged the order, combined any like terms. Subtract 48 from both sides. If I subtract 48 from 24, I get negative 24. Still with me? What's my magic number? 24. So I want the factors of negative 24. That would add up to 10. So I got 1 and 24. 1 being positive, 1 being negative. Is that going to work? No. 2 and 12. Does that work? Yeah. Do I have to list the rest of the factors if that works? No. I like that. Which factor is going to be the positive value here? 12. Good. So I get x squared plus 12x minus 2x minus 24. Still with me? Okay. What do I have in common here? X, and that leaves me x plus 12. My third, this is negative, so what's the minimum I need to factor out? That's negative here, the third term. Negative and 2. Good. If I factor negative 2 out of negative 2x, I'm left with positive x. If I factor negative out of negative 24, I'm left with plus 12. Still with me? So I get x minus 2 and x plus 12. So x is equal to 2, and x is equal to negative 12. Oh. Is that locked? I'm sorry. Okay, I have x equals 2 and x equals 12. X equals 2, x equals 12. X equals 2, x equals 12. x equals 2, x equals 12. I know this, I know this. What do you think? Am I going to plug? Which one's going to work? If I get negative 12, if I plug negative 12 in, is that going to make any sense?
No.
No. So one of the answers I don't need. This one's nonsense. If I plug 2 in, let's see what happens. I know x equals 2. If I plug 2 in here, what's the dimension?
8.
If I plug 2 in here, what's the dimension?
6.
So I have a now new length of 8 and a new width of 6. And that allows me to double the area of my garden. Sweet. So that's nice critical thinking. Yeah. No, I just wasted time doing it. What part? Where you're stuck on it? Are you stuck on it or no? No? Does it make sense though? I mean, we just logically walked through it. I don't know if the one on the test will have a double area or not, but I mean, we're just critically thinking, going through what can we do, and there are answers that sometimes come up with nonsense.
Wait, so is the length 8 and the width 6?
Yep. So our original length was 6 and our original width was 4, which gave us 24 square meters, square meters. And then we found we wanted to double the area, so a double of 24 is 48. So 8 and 6 gives me the 48, and that allows us to have that new iteration.
All right.
Yeah. Huh. You.
So I kind of looked ahead and I kind of noticed at the very start that you'd have to add 2 because it was 6 times 8 is 48.
Sometimes.
Like, would you still have to show all that work? I mean.
So, Ben, this is how I grade the test. Every time, not just sometimes. I go through and I try and find the answer. If I find the answer, I'm not really looking back at the work. Now, sometimes you get the, wow, there's an answer only. In fact, this person has answers only all the way through. So then I say, okay, who was sitting around this person? So I find that test as well. And then I just take the higher score between the two, divide them in half, because usually you can find, I've had kids replicate and duplicate their neighbor's test to even having the exact same errors. And the parents are like, no, they're doing all the work on their own. Really? Because your kid copied down this person's name as well and erased it. Well, they just weren't sure what to do. Name. Part of you does that not get you? Oh. Well, can they retake it? Yeah, next year. I'm sorry. So Ben, that's how I go through it. So I understand some of these, logically, they do make sense. Sometimes there have been students in my past that they have written down arbitrary values to every answer with 0 work. It's like, this is probably 7 as an answer. It's an infinite amount of numbers to pick from, but I'll pick 7 for this answer. And this one, you know what? 15 is the answer. And those aren't really worth any points, unfortunately. But I'd like to sometimes award that. Number 24, last one. Feel good? 24. A ball is thrown into the air. Get the problem? A ball is thrown into the air. A path of the ball is represented by the equation h equals negative t squared plus 8. Graph the equation over the interval from 0 to 8. So h is equal to negative t squared plus 8t. Okay, this is going to be a parabola. This parabola opens which way?
Down.
Down. Okay. So, they want us to graph this from 0 to 8. So this is the time. This is the height. I don't know how to count off the height yet. So let's try and solve this. A few things I would know is if I have 0 is equal to negative t squared plus 8t, what am I finding at this point? If I have it set at equal to 0, where's it going to cross? Y-axis or the x-axis? X-axis. The x-axis on this one is represented by time. Still good? So I get 0 is equal to, let's factor t out, so I have negative t plus 8. Is that okay? So I know that t is equal to 0. and I know that negative t plus 8 is equal to 0, which is negative t is equal to negative 8, so t equals what? 8, okay? And remember in the beginning it said, keep this bound here and here. So that's where it crosses. So basically, that's what this ball's doing. Agree? Forms a parabola. Cool. So let's figure out what the vertex is. What's halfway in between 0 and 8? 4. Love it. Okay? We can find the same thing by going negative b over 2a. So it would be negative 8 over 2a, which is negative 8 over negative 2, which is positive 4. How do I find this part up here? Plug it back into the equation for t. So, this is going to be tricky. Ready? What number am I plugging in for t? 4. If I square 4, what do I get? 8. 16. Love you, man. But, what about that negative out in front? If I square it, should it go away? No, why not? What am I squaring? No, what am I squaring? 4. I'm plugging 4 into that. I'm plugging 4 into that. Notice I'm going to square whatever I plug into it. This negative will not affect it. So if I plug in 4 here, and I plug 4 in here, this negative is coming along for the ride. So I get negative 16 plus 32, okay, which is? Yeah. 32 minus 16. 16. Okay, so let's see, we might have enough to answer this question. What is the maximum height of the ball? What? 16. So I can count this by 2s. I can go 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. It should be there. Make the dot bigger if it's. Notice how well I've graphed it. So it is at a height of maximum height of the ball. It is 16 meters. Okay. Maximum height of the ball is 16 meters. Almost done. How long is the ball over 7 meters? How long is the ball over 7 meters? So we want to know how long this time that ball is over 7 meters. Where am I going to plug that 7 in? T. So is T time or height? Time.
Oh, then you would plug it into H.
Good. All right. So 7 meters. So I'm going to plug 7 in right here for H. So I get 7 is equal to T minus T plus 8. Still with me? Let's just distribute here. So I get 7 is equal to negative T squared plus 8T. Let's have 0 on this side. So if I bring everything over, I'm going to add T squared. And I'm going to subtract 8T. I'm glad Farm Fresh Egg Boy and Cupcake back there could sit around and just talk during the whole review. You guys figure out Farm Fresh Egg Boy, you guys figure out Cupcake amongst yourselves, but yeah, raise Cupcake. Okay, you'll be Farm Fresh Egg Boy then. All right. So I think I can factor this down. I think this will factor to T minus 7, T minus 1. Is that okay? So T equals 7, and T is equal to 1. Okay, help me out. Help me out. How long is the ball above 7 meters? How long is that ball above 7 meters? Not 7. You're okay. 6. Why? You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. So here it is. Ready? I'm throwing the ball. 1001. It's now above 7 meters. It's going way, 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 way up. It's coming on its way, 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 way down. And at 7 seconds into its flight, it is now gone below 7 meters. And then at the 8th second, it hits the ground. So the difference between these is 6 seconds. So this particular ball is above the ground, 7 meters above the ground for a total of 6 seconds. How long is the ball in flight? 8 seconds. 6 of those seconds happens to be above that. Cool?
Yep.
Giddy up. All right, guys, girls, what I'm going to give you, this is the take-home portion of the test. You can work with each other, look it up on the computer, talk with each other, but this is due tomorrow. This is worth 25 points out of the 100 points for the test. So, Skype, I like it. So, do this amongst yourselves. Work with people. I will be out of my office from 11:30 on today, but I'll be out of my office across the hall tomorrow. I know in the Math Science Resource Room you can go over and ask people for help. You can talk to your friends who are also in this class for help.
Can I go on somebody's phone and look up my